The video that you are about to view is a video that I'm going to make to try to help those and to answer the question, what was it like coming home from Vietnam? The year is 1968, month is October. I don't know how many of us were on that plane, but we were all elated that Vietnam was soon to be in our rearview mirror. The elation and the stories that were being told on that plane, the things that we were going to do, things that we were going to see, the people that we were going to meet, the bars we were going to go to. The stories were endless on that plane. We were all anxious to get home. We were all so happy to have survived. The stories were endless. We were all so happy that we were coming home. There may be times during this video that you may find it. I'll be a little emotional. But then again, this video, I hope it helps those that want to know. And I also hope that it helps those that have never told their story. Anyways, we're all on the plane, and we're coming across the big pond, and we're headed home, playing cards. It's a hell of a journey, coming across the pond, sleeping, still playing cards, talking about what we're going to do when we come home. Let me take these off. Anyways, the journey is just horrible. I mean, we're all waiting to get home. Anyways, the plane lands into Anchorage, and we're allowed to have a layover. I don't know, couldn't have been but maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. And we have a short layover, and we get back on the plane and we head towards Seattle, Tacoma. We all called it SeaTac. And that's where we do all of our mustering out, getting our paperwork together, briefing out. And from Seattle, Tacoma, we catch a flight and we head down towards San Francisco. And that's where we get our plane tickets to head home. Back then, you didn't pay for your plane tickets. Well, anyways, the flight from Seattle, Tacoma to San Francisco, again, we're talking about what we're going to do when we get home, who we're going to see, how happy we were that we were able to make it out of that hellhole across the pond. First thing we're going to do when we get off the ramp is we're going to kiss Mother Earth, good old USA. We come down off that ramp, across the way against the chain link fence, are hordes of people screaming, yelling, holding signs. Go back where you belong to. We don't want you here. Baby killers. Throwing fruits and vegetables at us, mainly rotten. Eggs. Being cussed at. We don't want you here. I mean, we're all amazed. When I leaned down and kissed the ground, as I was kissing it, I looked up at the same time and could not believe what I was looking at. I'm 19 years old. I just came back from one of the most horrific places a 19-year-old should have never witnessed. And then I come down off of that ramp, kiss the ground, and look up, and I'm almost seeing the same damn thing that I just left. I don't know what I did. What did I do wrong? Did I do something wrong? Anyways, we're all shuttled onto a bus, and we're taken over to this great big giant building. While on the bus, all the way down the street, people are lined on the sidewalks. Again, everybody's holding posters and signs. Baby killer. Go back where you belong. What are you doing coming back to steal my job? Fruit being thrown at the buses, rotten tomatoes, eggs, just anything that they could find to throw at the bus. I mean, all of us are sitting on the bus wondering what in the hell is going on. We're over in Vietnam, we're getting stars and stripes. None of this is being told to us. And somehow, none of the letters from those that left Vietnam, none of that information is getting back to us. So, when we get home and this is going on, we're thinking to ourselves, at least in Vietnam, we had weapons to defend ourselves. We're back home and this is going on, and we don't have anything to defend ourselves. I mean, it was atrocious. Now, we're in the big building and we're getting paperwork and orders and our tickets to go home. Meanwhile, at the airport, you have protesters. Back then, protesting was the norm, apparently. I mean, I didn't know it. I was over in the jungles. I was I was going through shit of my own. I had no idea this was going on over here. So it got to the point where I was just happy to get on the bus, get on the plane. But it didn't happen that way. I was called everything but a white man. And I didn't understand why. I was 17 when I went in the Army. I quit school in the 9th grade, went about 2 months in the 10th. I had enough of the school system, decided I wanted to go in the Army. Thought that was, at the time, 17-year-old kid. I thought at the time that's what I wanted to do. I was proud to have served. A whole family served in the military. Done what I thought was right in Vietnam, followed orders. I was in the EOD, an explosive ordnance detonator. Laid minefields. I live with the fact that there's still children, people stepping on the mines that I laid. Crawled through those tunnels, make sure that none of the soldiers stepped on any mines, booby traps. I went through an awful lot of hell to come home and witness what I did. And then I come home, Newark, Ohio. I couldn't even wear my dress greens. My own hometown, Newark, Ohio. I couldn't go to the Club 31, Horseshoe Bar, Park Bar. I couldn't wear my dress greens. I had to take them off. The very same greens that I wore, proudly, because I served in Vietnam. I couldn't believe it. Even the people that I knew. I was getting the same remarks. So how many babies did you have to kill to get that dress screens on? The very same people. But I want to tell you a story. And this happened about 4 weeks ago. I was in a grocery store. Elderly lady was in front of me. She was having trouble with her card. And the only reason she was having trouble with the card was she was like $36, I believe it was, short on her card. So I told the lady at the counter, I said, go ahead and take what card she has, what on her card, and I'll make up the difference. The elderly lady was in front of me, told me, she said I didn't have to do that. I told her I felt compelled. So I went on ahead and made up the difference of what she had on her card and what was remaining on the bill for her groceries. I went on ahead and I paid for mine, which was only a few items. I think it came to $23, and I was kind of behind her. Anyways, her vehicle was 2 vehicles down from me. Well, she was kind of slow and I was behind her. Well, she opened up her trunk and I asked her if I could help her put her groceries in her vehicle for her, and she said no. Well, I had my cap on, which I normally do wear all the time, at least 98% of the time. Hell, I'll even fall asleep with it on. She come up to me and she asked me if she could hug me. And I told her, I said, I'll never turn down a hug. And this lady come up to me and hugged me. She said, I'm sorry. And I said, ma'am, what are you saying you're sorry to me for? And she said I was one of those that held the sign when you fellas came home. And I looked at her and I backed off and I looked at her. And I said, ma'am, I said, those were different times. She said, but I am compelled to tell you that I'm sorry. And that all Vietnam veterans, I apologize for the way that I treated you and the things that I said when you came home. And I said it without understanding what things that you went through and the orders that you had to follow. And I want to thank you for taking care of what I owed at the grocery store. And I thanked her for her apology. That is the only time that anyone has ever apologized for the way that I was treated when I came home. So if you need any understanding on what it was like coming home from Vietnam, it was almost as horrific as it was being in Vietnam. And to this day, all of us will go to our grave unforgiving, not forgetting, because we didn't deserve it. And to this day, no one, except for one, has ever apologized. We didn't deserve it. I don't know if this has helped you understand any. It probably hasn't.